Hello. Is this thing on? Good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. Let me just. I did not. I need this thing to be not on, or at least on silent. Okay, good morning, good morning. Let's do some game dev. Oh, I tell you what, I need to make a plan with my schedule. Now, so for you, those of you who are following, or just realized that I wasn't here yesterday, or I skipped a day for streaming. It was kind of my original thought. Was to. I just need to stop this stuff here. Sorry, let me just get myself sorted here before I go too far. Okay. Yeah, so that was kind of my original thought. Right now, my idea was to not stream every day, to have a little bit of balance. But I stream very early in the mornings. At least for me, it's very early, right? I wake up at 4 in the morning to get to stream 4:30. Right, and that sounds good and everything, but and then I stream for 2 hours, and I can get ready for work and still get on with my day. And there's a good reason for that, right? I feel the most. My most productive if I do this in the morning. At least I have more energy. I get through things. I don't lack motivation, stuff like that. Because a lot of the time in the evening, and I'm sure most people can relate, when you get home or when you end your work day, it's often quite difficult to realistically start second work day, if that makes sense, right? Unless, I don't know, you sleep in between or something. Maybe that's better, but for me right now, that's hard. I can't do it. I've tried doing it, and it might go well for a couple of days, maybe a week or two, and then I just kind of fall off, and then I don't work for months, right? And if that is how it's gonna go, then obviously I'm not gonna be very successful in completing this game. Okay, so that's a problem. I need to fix it. So in the past, and this is how I finished my previous game, I actually did most of the work in the morning. I just got up early, got something done for the day, and then I didn't worry about it anymore. Then I was like, okay, cool, I did 2 hours at least. If the rest of this day goes completely sideways and I don't come back to working on the game, at least I've done 2 hours of work. And that kind of kept me going, right? It's not a great pace, but it's a pace, and it's somewhat consistent, and that's kind of important, it turns out. Okay, but right now I felt like, okay, cool, I'll do like 2 days, and then I'll skip a day, and then I'll do 2 more days, and then skip 2 days, something like that, to do other things in the evenings, like watch something with my wife, maybe play a game with my friends, something online or something like that. But it messes up my sleep schedule like nobody's business. Because when I do that, it obviously means the next day I get to sleep in. And then that evening, I can't fall asleep. So then I struggle to fall asleep, and then, today I woke up and I got like 5.5 hours of sleep. So I'll probably get through the stream fine, the first 2 hours, but trust me, later today, it's going to be tough, right? It's going to be very tough. So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. So let's get into it. Let's start doing something. Okay, so I just need to change this over. There we go. And this is where we're going to be spending most of our time. Let's just get you. No, not that one. This one. Okay, so where did we leave off? What have I done since then? So, you guys might remember I was fiddling with the Robin last time, getting it to do something. Oh, I need my tracker to run. Sorry, let me just come here. I actually realized I worked on this game quite a bit yesterday. During, odd times that I had, and I really didn't track any of it. Okay, but tracking started for the Robin. Or the Ranger, or what have you. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, so I worked a little bit on this yesterday. Did I work on it Monday after the stream? I might have. I can't remember, actually. And I haven't tracked any of those sessions. That's kind of the problem. I can't remember, so there's the thing. Yeah, so what I tried doing yesterday, and this is kind of an issue with the way, meshes connect to the rig, so the bones of this character. Pretty much what happens is, the mesh will deform based on the movement of the bones, right? But unfortunately, the cape in this case, or the hood, is connected to the main mesh, right? So it will also move. Now, if you think about this, if this leg moves backwards, right, you want the cape to lift up with the leg. However, you don't necessarily want the cape to come with the leg when the leg moves forward. Right? But there's not really a good way of turning this on and off, right? It's a bit of an issue, but what we did look, I tried doing some cloth physics in Unity, and it's good, but it looked very strange, right? Especially because what I had to do is, if you look at the hood, no, that's the brooch. So the hood is obviously this whole thing, all the way from the head down. And if you make that whole thing a cloth, it does weird things around the head and the neck, because it's now like a scarf or something, right? It's a cloth. Even though it looked fine hanging down here, when you were running, this was clipping and doing all funny kinds of things. So in the end, we went with a different solution. So what we did now is we just made it a little bit shorter, right? And when you move back, it doesn't... Oh, and we didn't connect it to the leg. So what happens now, if it moves back, the leg clips into this thing slightly. So I can show you if we do a run animation. Now, obviously, this thing's just going to run off the screen and not take the bow with it, so that might be another problem now. Okay, let's see if we can find a frame. Yeah, so this is probably the worst frame. So you can see it starts to clip a little bit, right, the body. But the side, it's not bending forward with this leg, right? so it's not molding around their bum. And this honestly, it looks much better, right? So we're just going to keep it like this. So if I actually play the game instead of just fiddling with these animations, wait for it to load, take a sip. Oh, the bow has a mesh collider. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I might just switch that off. That doesn't need a collider. Okay, but let's select the Robin. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little bit of clipping right there. Okay, but if you zoomed out all the way, you don't even notice it. And but you did notice the folding of the flap underneath the Robin, right? Okay, and everything shoots. So we fixed a bunch of issues with the mesh and the model. So even if we zoom in, you can see looks. Why is it not shooting? I guess there's nothing in range, right? There we go. We're shooting. Now we can run. And it looks pretty good, right? So it's taking the arrows and shooting the bow. No problems. Okay. Okay, what we ended up doing was kind of fixing these two areas. Okay, so let's just go back into this thing. Where they would select one or the other. You know, the two trigger zones, depending on which one you selected. So this works sometimes. It maybe works the first time. But it's kind of broken if you select the character multiple times. So if we go into the character select screen and we switch back and forth. So it works fine the first time we select or we switch. But if we do this more than once or a couple of times, this whole thing gets confused somehow. Okay, let's just remove the collider from the sword. The sword, the bow. Okay, so what's the plan for today? Well, I think we should perhaps think about making the arrow projectile and actually making it cause damage, etc., etc. So let's just close some of this stuff. So in my first of all, in my visual assets folder, let's see. So a lot of this stuff comes from bundles that I purchased, right? Except for the character folder. These are hey, look at that. Look at that old chicken. This is what the chicken looked like. Oh, we actually have a much better chicken model by now. So we have updated this model even. So this is the current one. I just removed the helmet and the cape. This cape's also doing the stuff. But now that I think about it, we can actually fix this and it might be better. But regardless, this is the current chicken. My wife has been working on this model, so it is a bit better now. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a bit of a mess. Yeah, these are just textures, PNG files. Okay, this is where my characters go in my visual assets. I think I should make a folder for just something like, should we call it just objects within visual assets? I think so. Create folder objects. Okay, wait, maybe that's items, objects. Let's call it weapons. I hope that's spelled correctly. I don't think it is. No, it's spelled correctly. Okay, we'll just call it weapons for now. And maybe one day we'll move that into a different folder, but... Okay, let me just open this and go find my weapons. Yeah, so we have, my wife has made a couple of weapons. Okay, so here we go. We have an arrow. Okay, so we have our arrow, and we have, we're just using the same material for everything. Apply. There we go. We have an arrow. Okay, so in our prefabs, see I have a sword and a spear. Pop-ups, player characters, enemies. Okay, we should make a create folder and call this weapons perhaps again. Okay, so let's create a weapon prefab. Create. I wonder. Let's go to my weapon arrow. Whoopsie, that's not the whoa. Okay, let's drag this in. Right, and then I can do no. Get rid of this. Okay, so let's call this a projectile. What about base? So I did something similar for my characters. Let me see what the hell I did here. I can't remember. So if you go into my characters, yeah, I have base player character, right? And this is just something that has some very basic stuff going on, right? So we'll just let me just rename this to base projectile. So doesn't really matter, and we can save this as a base projectile, and then we go into weapons. We drag it in there, and now we have the prefab. Right, prefab asset. Now what I can do is I can say create prefab variant, and I'll call this the arrow projectile. And then within my arrow projectile, so I can just get rid of this one, and I can take the arrow projectile and put it in my world. So that I can play with it. Let's just go to it. Oh, look at all this stuff here at the edge of the world. Okay, let's just move it over. Okay, so this arrow projectile needs the mesh. Okay, let's just make the position 0, 0, 0. Let's just reset the transform, right? Reset. There we go. Everything done. Wait, what is this thing doing? Whoa, that's interesting. Huh. So if I scale the now, if I scale any of these, it kind of breaks the arrow for some reason. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we can keep those like that, because obviously I have the arrow projectile, and I can just scale it from there, and it will keep its scale correct. Like, okay. Okay, let's go put it there by our characters. No. Well, where's this projectile now? Oh, there we go. Just want to see if it's at least roughly the correct size. Okay, let's put it somewhere here. Let's just rotate it, something like that. Okay, it needs to be slightly bigger, right? Okay, apply all overrides. Okay, we could just change this back to 0. Okay, goody. So now we at least have the projectile, sort of. Okay, let's open this thing. Okay, we need a collider. What kind of a collider is fine? Yeah, capsule collider is probably fine. Even a sphere collider is probably fine. Okay, let's do a sphere collider. Okay. Okay, we need this thing way smaller. Okay, let's just zero this again. And I think we offset it. Yeah, so 0 there. Something like that. Okay, let's just do this and make it 1. This arrow is a bit wonky. Okay. So the y negative 0.1, 0, 1, 0, 2. It's fine. Okay, so I'll arrow projectile now. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So the tip has a collider. Okay. And we'll just call this a trigger. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. So that's at least good enough for now. Okay. If we now go back, okay, we can obviously drag this thing around. So I don't necessarily. I want this in the world, obviously, eventually, but I want it to spawn, right? Yes, like I haven't done a spawner in a while, but I think... Okay, I've done it for the enemy spawn point, so here we can see. We have the spawn time. We have the element that should spawn, and we have a spawn manager. If we just open the spawn manager, maybe just to give ourselves a little bit of a refresher, we can see how this works. I guess, okay, so it's not so bad. Just have a timer, and it's asking if the time has expired or exceeded some max time. Set it back to 0 and then spawn the enemy, and then we just continue iterating the time. So I've done timers like this now in like 3 different ways, but I guess it makes sense. So there we go, and we say for each transform enemy in enemies, okay, so I made an array of transforms. Okay, so I can add multiple types of enemies later. So I go through each enemy in my array of enemies, or my list of enemies, whatever that was. I can't even remember if this is an array or a list. I think it's an array, but anyway. So there we go, game object spawned enemy. So we instantiate the enemy.gameObject at the position of our spawn point, and we just give it 0 rotation, etc. Enemy.gameObject. So instantiate the enemy game object. Oh yeah, because it's a transform. Okay, that's pretty easy. So the question is, how do we spawn arrows? So think it should be linked to the animation of the ranger in some way. I should actually override apply all. Let's apply all overrides, because I think if I open this, yeah, if I open the actual prefab, oh yeah, no, we don't want that. Okay. So now I think if I look at the animations, for instance, yeah. So I'm opening the prefab and the bow is now working with the animations. Okay, cool. So the first thing we want to figure out is at which point do we draw an arrow? So, okay, so I think if we go back to our animator, which for some reason it's closed, let's just put it here. So for the attack, so we aim straight, we fire, and then we exit. And I think when it exits, it just goes back to empty state, but if we go back to our different layer, the base layer, you'll notice that in targeting, your empty state's kind of like an idle state. So all of these walking states, I need to fix walk backwards, I think. I remember now I changed stuff with the walk backward. You can see the arm is not the same. But anyway, so all of these reach okay, so let's see, they call functions a couple times. So we have the foot, left foot, right. Okay, so that's fine. So it's just for walking. For idle, we don't have anything there. Whatever, an aim straight. Okay, we're not calling any kind of a function. Yeah, so nothing is, we don't have an event. And then for fire, we have a shoot event, which is fine. So we want to release the arrow. So the shoot event exists. We now need to figure out exactly when do we spawn the arrow. Yeah, so we just go back to the scene. You'll notice that the aim straight puts us in this position. Okay. I just realized something. This is drawn. We draw massively over here, so okay, but aim straight looks like that, and then fire straight. We just release it, right? But we go to something like one of these. Okay, so the only one I realistically see this working with was aim straight. So if we go to aim straight, we add an event. Okay, we'll have to add a function in this thing. so let's see. So in this, we have our animation events. Okay, we already have a shoot function, so let's just copy this. And we'll call this a draw arrow. Okay, and this, okay, we can create the event as well. So this is the on draw arrow event that we are gonna invoke in this. Okay, well that's pretty straightforward. Okay, let me just make this everything look the same. Okay, so we have the on draw arrow event now. So if we go back to our animation, okay, it's doing its thing. Okay, so aim, fire straight, aim straight. Yeah. So right here, we'll have, whoops, function, methods, draw arrow. Okay, so aim straight, if we have this now, we have the draw arrow function. That's been called. Okay, great. And we have this over here. So what we can do now is inside our Robin Ranger. So let's see. Okay, the aim straight. I'm just going to lock this so that I can put the arrow inside of the Ranger now. So the arrow would go to the right hand, I would say. Oh geez, is this connected to the lower spine now? Okay, shoulder, right. So this is the right hand on this side. Okay, so upper arm, lower arm, hand. Okay, so we'll put the arrow inside the hand. So we just go to our weapon, prefabs, arrow projectile, and we drag it into our hand. Right. Okay, let's just zero this. What the hell? I tell you, these scales. Because the Robin is scaled up. Yep. Okay, let's just make this thing smaller. Okay, and let's also reset the rotation. So something like that. It's now connected to the hand. So we can click it. So let's see if we can get this thing to look good. Something like that. Okay, I can already see some problems here. Just rotate it a little bit like this. And then we move it a little bit. over perhaps. Okay, so that doesn't really matter too much. Okay, so the one problem I'm having is for this to now get into the hand. Yeah, we kind of inside the clothes, right? Which I guess is I could have expected this because this character obviously has way more stuff going on than the base one that we're using. Okay, so in the animator, we need to find, just enlarge this. So we maybe need to find our right eye, our right elbow or something. Yeah. So down, up, front, back, twist. Okay, this is weird. Hand in, out, shoulder. Okay, it's gonna be forearm something, I think. Okay, arm front to back. Let's just see what that does. Okay. It does something that could be useful. Okay, that does something that could be useful. Forearm stretch. Ah, okay, that like this. Yeah, so now if we take the arrow and we just rotate it about the green axis to get it to point. Well, okay, so we've rotated it, but now we need to move it again into the hand a little bit, and it's way over rotated now. Told you a little bit like this. Move it down. Move it a little bit up. Maybe slightly forwards. Okay, are we still convinced that it's being held by this hand? I mean, it's not right, but this is already so much better because it's actually showing the arrow. You can twist it a little bit like this. Maybe we make it a little bit longer, or just larger in general. Then we move it back over this side. Okay, that looks... It's connected to the hand, I'll take it. Okay, the brooch is now doing some funny things, but... Okay. Let's leave it at that for now. Okay, so we have an arrow drawn. And it's not clipping inside. Okay, yeah, so now... Okay, playing this animation doesn't do anything. But if we go to, let's say, okay, this is gonna break it, right? If we do fire, yeah, it's because the arrow is connected to the hand. Let's see, walking. Okay. Okay, walk backwards is specifically bad. let's see this one. Yeah, so this is a little bit better. Obviously, it's clipping and all kinds of problems here because of the way this arrow is now connected. But it looks good when we are aiming. Right, and I'm not gonna change. Yeah, if you look at it, so you're running and all this stuff, or you're walking, it's all gonna be wonky. So I would have to change every single one of these, right? Yeah, so that's it's not going to work for me. So, but what I'll do is, when it aims, we obviously call that function. So, now what we can do is we can go back to the ranger and we can say here, but on draw, okay, we can take the arrow projectile and we can say game object set active true. And then actually we can go to shoot, and now we have to take this arrow, game object set active false, I would say, because when it shoots it needs to disappear, right? The one that's connected to the to our robin itself. Okay, maybe this shouldn't have been a prefab. Maybe that should have just been the mesh itself. Because I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, I want the prefab to be spawned. Yeah, might be a problem. Okay, let's get out of the ranger. And now let's see. Okay, so this is our projectile. And it is obviously way smaller than the robin. Or the arrow that the robin is holding, right? Yeah. I have no idea how big this thing is actually. This is a problem. So I'm having some issues now with the way things are scaling, because these meshes are not the same. Okay, let's just take the robin and put her in the ranger character. I want you in the aim straight position. Okay, and lock that animation, that pose. Okay, now we take this guy and we want to compare it. Okay, so it's quite a bit smaller. .2, is that looking right? I think so. So no, you know what's gonna happen now. If I, for some reason, say, you know, apply all the changes I've made here to the prefab itself, this prefab's gonna blow up. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, it's not so bad. Okay. I can live with this. Okay, so now we need a few things to happen. We need a spawn point for our arrow. Right, and when it spawns, it needs to let's try something. I just want to see. I'm gonna switch this one off for now because I don't want to see that one. Just want to see what happens when I actually play the game now. Because I'm thinking, we obviously did a couple of things. I want to see if when the bird is running, it shouldn't have an arrow by default in its hands. Okay, it does. It does. Okay, let's just see. Okay, now it does not. Can I make it get an arrow again? Oh, just shoot something. Okay, I need to do something. So my enemy spawn point, I'm just gonna make this like 50. Because it's kind of annoying actually when so many of them spawn. Okay, let's select the ranger character. So, for some reason, the robin is attacking. Let's just see, do I have any? It is with my console. Okay, there's the messages, but it's not like it's not an error. Interesting. So the aim straight is drawing the arrow. I think this is something to do with I think is it not calling the function? So let's see. might be that it wasn't calling the function correctly. Okay, I'll have to put in a test to see. Let's just go back to the game. Let's just see, maybe this is just giving it that delay is actually all it needed. That's pretty remarkable that this now somehow broke the whole thing. How's that even possible? That just changing this animation now makes it stuck. Unless I got an error? No. I don't understand this at all. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so it's getting triggered, but it's not doing... Okay, so the animation works, but obviously something ain't working. Okay, so let's just go to the Robin Ranger. So, I mean, if you think about this, so we have our arrow projectile. On shoot, it goes away. On draw, it goes active, right? Active, deactivate, okay. So that should work, but it doesn't. So let's just go here and we go to on draw arrow. And, you know, we're just gonna do a debug.log. Arrow. Just want to see something quickly. Is my stream? Yeah, it's the music's still playing the right stuff. Okay, so and maybe we do this as well. We just say here, shoot. Oopsie. Okay, so now you should at least get the messages if things here work the way they should. Okay, let's go check it out. Wait, did I save this? Yeah, save. Okay. We need to start the game. Okay, so it does shoot arrow, it doesn't do draw arrow. What I suspected. Okay, let's go to Fire Strait. I see, it's got the shoot. Oh, where am I supposed to draw the arrow? I mean, this should work. Why is it not working? Let's see if this changed anything. Somehow, I doubt it has. Let's just go to our console. Okay, so I guess the question is going to become, do I even want the arrow to appear? I mean, I do, but yeah, this is annoying. Because I have no idea why the aim function is not calling. Right, it's right there. It's connected just like the. Okay, let's just lock the Fire Strait if you click on it. Shoot, yeah. Oh, there it is. It's there. Okay, let's just go look at our scene quickly. I just want to see frame by frame what does this look like. Okay, so right here. Wow. Oh. Wow. Okay, what if we put another one there and we tell it to do the draw arrow there? Let's see what it does. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Okay, so fire straight, you cannot draw the arrow for me. That doesn't look good. Okay, so it needs to happen maybe before. No. It needs to happen at aim straight since it does occur before fire. Okay, so nothing happens, but at least there's a second frame, so hopefully the first frame gets called. It's a copy of the first one, so it doesn't actually change anything, but the fact that there's two means there's some duration, so hopefully that also means like doesn't quite do anything. Okay, so even though I changed the animation to have what if I put it on the second frame? Oh, it feels like I'm just banging my head against the wall here. I want this to work the way I want it to work. Maybe it's not even necessary, but no, still completely skips. I wonder if in the animator, could you over here call a function? What does this mean? What is this? Reset? Okay. Yeah, nothing. Settings. Okay, Okay, wait, but now... What did I just do? Okay, let's put that there. So it's not aimed straight. If we go here, our transition now looks a little bit different, right? Yes. Okay. So now that it has duration, even though it's short, maybe it now can actually run that function. Why are you not shooting? Come on, it's right there. Oh, this can be so annoying. Oh. Trigger attack. Oh wait, it's not even... Wow, okay, so somehow... we are not firing the arrow even anymore. Okay, so maybe we do that. Why? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's try this. So now even the firing of the arrow was broken. Okay, select. Shoot arrow, shoot arrow, shoot arrow. Okay, so we're shooting the arrow again. Thank goodness. Okay. So perhaps it's got something to do with this thing? I don't know. So between the empty state and attack. Cannot preview transition. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Don't know what any of this means. Let's try this. So we're just changing those to nothing. Yeah, because there's nothing there. It might be that actually. It might be that that empty state is somehow breaking the first few frames of our fire state. Well, that looks terrible, but it is drawing and shooting, so I changed something. Okay. yeah, it's a little bit jittery now, but so maybe this is the problem. 0.2, I don't know. Transition duration 0.1. I don't know if any of this is gonna make a difference. But also it could be that the animation itself, since it's got aim straight, it's got the second keyframe. So what if I just deleted this key again? So we just have the 1. Okay. Let's try this. I think I'm getting somewhere, but I think it was that empty state problem. What are you doing? Okay, let's see. Draw arrow. It did draw arrow once. Okay, let's just check quickly what this thing is doing. So if we go to the animator, okay, so the aim straight state for some reason is now quite long. Right? So it comes in here. Oh geez, what the hell? When did this happen? Why is this thing now a minute long? Or a second, or whatever that is. Interesting. I mean, I took out the key. Zero. This is probably not the right answer. I know. You know what? I'm gonna go to my not this one. I can't remember. I think it's the explosive. And I'll see. Archer Warrior. Animations. Aim straight, right? I copy that one and let's go put it here. Okay, let's just for this one. Okay, what I want is the sky. Okay, aim straight 1, so that's the new one now. And then here we want to do aim straight 1 into that, and then let's check this transition is fixed. Good, and I don't know what the difference is between them now. I change the length. So this one's length 0.003. Yeah, somehow with all the messing about I changed the length. I don't even know how. How do you do that? Like I can see there's something different here on the. There's no key there though. Okay, let's just see something. Okay, Ranger animation. No idea how they did that, but anyway, let's see if this still works at all. Okay, it's shooting and drawing the arrow apparently. You can literally not see the arrow at all. If I zoom in, you can see it. That's kind of funny. So all of this kind of done for no reason at all. That seems about right. Okay, let's just leave it at that, right? So the arrow is spawning and it's showing and it's doing all its things, right? Now, though, I still need when shoot happens, I need to spawn the actual arrow, and it, well, now the projectile arrow, so this one, it needs to get spawned and it needs to move somewhere. Righto. Okay, so I will need to define a spawn point, and it'll be relative to... It should be... Okay, so this is an interesting one. If I make it relative to the ranger... Which is not impossible, right? But it's inside a prefab. So inside my ranger prefab, there will be a point that I can access, and that one will spawn. Okay, so that's not bad. And then we might have a arrow spawner or something like that, that is linked to this somehow. I'm just a bit curious as to how this would work, because obviously on shoot has this arrow projectile despawn itself, right? But there might be a second one that we want to have it spawn now instead, or we might just want the spawner to run. Am I doing anything like that with the knight? I just want to see. Now you see, so these things that it's doing. But no, wait a minute. Okay, we are getting a component called the attack trigger from the attack trigger zone. Okay, so we can reference those like that. Yeah, that should work fine, right? So I can have the spawn point referenced here, perhaps, or the spawner or something like that. Yeah, so within my range, I just need to... Okay, so there's a couple of things. If the spawner is connected to my ranger itself, what that would mean is that the arrow would always be a child, a child, I guess, in some way, of the ranger itself. That I don't like. I would like the arrow to be separate. Like I might want to make, let's say, create empty, and I call this projectiles. So I might want arrows that spawn to be inside of this projectiles object, right? Like inside the folder, just to keep everything kind of organized, right? Yeah, and this doesn't have to be anything. So the point at which they spawn needs to be referenced from the robin. That's fine. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just go into our aim. Position. Right. No, let's go into fire. Okay, so this is... Okay, let me just show the arrow, because I can't... Now, this arrow is terrible. I thought it looked weird, but I didn't realize it moved somehow again. I think this might be because I'm fiddling with the prefab itself. It's very possible, ain't it? Hey. No. Oh, come on. What's it? It's like live. Yeah. Okay. Probably rotate this thing a little bit like that. Maybe tilt it up again. I've fiddled with this before. You know what the best part is about all this? I know that this is literally not gonna be, nobody's gonna even be able to see this. I will, obviously, but nobody else is gonna see this. Okay, yeah, so shoot, boop. Okay, so when it shoots, okay, I wanted to get a point here somewhere. Okay, so I'm just gonna call this a point. Let's just say create empty over here, and this is the arrow spawn position, right? I'm not going to call it the spawn point necessarily, just the position for the spawn, right? Okay, and I'm going to move this up and over. Whoop, 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 whoop. Something like that. Yeah, maybe something like that instead. Let's see if it looks reasonable from all sides. I think so. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is the spawn point for the arrow. Yeah, that's fine. Or the position, right? And now in projectiles, Okay, we want to now have a spawner. So normally I would attach this to the spawn point itself. Or the manager, yeah. So that's fine, but it's not fine enough. So I will have here. I wonder if I just make it part of the projectile. So I add a projectile spawner or something like that, or an arrow spawner. Let's try that. So let's just add a component script. Hello? Why is this new script? And we call this the arrow spawner. Okay, Visual Studio, thank you for popping up for some reason. Let's try this. Okay, so I'm just gonna pretty much copy some of this stuff. Okay, so spawn timer doesn't really matter, so we need a transform. So this would obviously be the arrow itself. This is one of those. Yeah, no, sorry, ban. I think it's a bot. Alright, that seems like it's a bot. Okay. Okay, so we just need something that we can plug this into. And then we need a function that spawns the thing. I'm just going to copy this. I really don't have to, but I'm lazy. So let's do that. Okay. Okay, so first thing, our serialized field is not going to be called this. And I guess we could just call it the arrow. Okay, so it's pretty much going to be our prefab for the arrow. We don't need a spawn timer necessarily, so well, that's not. And this is the spawn arrow function. And it can literally just do this game. Whoopsie. No. Okay, let's just do this. Bam. Okay, game object spawned arrow is instantiate our arrow.gameObject transform.position. So no, not quite. So we want the can I do position? Just do transform. Arrow. This would be the arrow spawn position. Okay, so arrow spawn position. Dot position, etc. Okay. So let's see. So we have now that stuff working. What? Oh, there's too many. Okay. Too many curly braces. Let me take a sip of this. That's fine. Okay, so we have the spawn position. So in our projectiles, we need the arrow spawn position, so that would be this one. Right, and over there we need a prefab. Weapon prefabs. You drag in the projectile itself, right? This is pretty much what I did with the enemy. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so that's fine. And then in my ranger, during the shoot function, I need to add something, and I add the projectiles. Right. And I select the arrow spawner. And I call the spawn arrow function, which I cannot do because I think it's not public. So yeah, it's not public. Public void spawn arrow. I think so, that'll work. Okay, so let's go back here to this thing. Okay, spawned arrow, spawn arrow. So on shoot, we do this. Okay, now the arrow is not gonna do anything. But let's just see if this works at all. Yeah, the arrow's just gonna sit there, and this is probably gonna be a problem. But anyway, let's see what happens. So I can do this. Oh, please just shoot. There we go. Okay, so if we go into scene view, you can see that the arrows, they were spawned, in fact. Okay, but their rotation is all wrong for the beginning. At least they are spawned. Just want to see. They are spawning, with their spawning obviously not pointing in the right direction, they're not moving, so a couple of things are wrong. And that might, so the first thing I might be able to just change the spawn position. Right, so currently the, what is the blue axis? The Z axis is pointing forward. So let's just go open our arrow projectile actually. And let's see how this thing is pointing. Yeah, this is quite terrible. So let's change this. Now it's pointing in the Z direction. Okay, go and position's also kind of dumb. Why would it have such a weird position in the prefab itself? Okay. There we go. So it's pointing in the Z direction. Sort of. It's also tilted. So let me just straighten it out. Okay. So we save, let's go back. Is probably gonna have a problem with some of the other things that I do here. Where's our little target? Okay, there we go. Okay, that's at least something. Now I think it's got something to do with the spawner, perhaps. Let's see the spawner. Okay, position. I think this instantiate function is doing something. Game object instantiate. Let's just see. Object.instantiate. Yeah, let me show you what I'm looking at. So let's see. Orientation of the new object. What? Why is this looking so broken? What? Unity docs. Okay. Scripting. Yeah. Object instantiate. This looks broken, right? It's not just me. This website's broken. It's not my fault. Okay, but anyway. Okay, we're making a copy of the position and then the rotation. Oh, we can assign a parent as well. Okay, so this is the one that we have to figure out, right? So the rotation. Ah, okay. And that is this. What if I just do, for instance, if I do arrow spawn position dot rotation? Is that a thing? Can that work? So I just take the arrow, I take the rotation of my spawn position, right? That should be, that makes sense to me at least. Let's see what that does. Okay, Robin Ranger, let's go. That's perfect, actually. Somehow, that is exactly what I needed. Yeah, look, it's spawning the arrows in exactly the direction I need them. Okay, now I just need them to move and do some other things, right? Very good, very good. So we're spawning arrows. Okay, so the arrow needs a few things. So I think I'm going to have to add effects to the arrow because you can't see it, right? It's super tiny. There's a little line on the screen. So from the standard zoom, you're not going to see it, right? So what that means is we need to add... What is this? This is just another arrow that I was when I was resizing them. Yeah. Okay. Ooh-wee. Okay, but this is not so bad. So we got the spawning to work. The arrows exist. Now I just need them to move. They need to move in the direction that it's pointing. Then it needs to hit something, right? And do a couple of things. So it should probably, well, should do some damage, right? And then it should despawn again, it disappear. It's got a glider. You should probably make it a rigid body. Then it has mass drag. Yeah, I think with this I can set the velocity. You know, I don't even remember how I'm moving my character. Okay, we have a play movement script. Hoo-wee. Okay, we have velocity. But at some point, transform dot position plus equal velocity times delta time. That's the thing. Yeah, and the velocity is determined based on some vector. So it's a new vector with velocity x and z. Yeah, that's it. No, so we need to find the aim position, rotation. That is correct. Be honest, I don't remember how much of this works, which I guess that's a recurring theme nowadays. Okay. Okay, everybody. It's been a good one, but I need to get going. It's now almost 6:30, few minutes. I'll get to working on this maybe later today if I'm feeling up to it. Otherwise, tomorrow morning, same time, same place. I will see you there, and then we can get this arrow moving, right? And then when it moves, we can apply damage, we can do all this nice stuff, and then apply visual effects, which I think are going to be really important for us to be able to follow where the hell this arrow is even going. Like maybe like some trails and stuff like that, right? Fun stuff. Okay, let's see. I never know how to properly end the stream, so let's try ending it in OBS today. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.